talking about? I wasn't late. You were late.
Steve's the type of guy that, like, whenever someone sneezes in the room and then you go, bless you, you go, I didn't even sneeze. Like, it's only about you.
You said, let's explain to them why we're late.
Yeah. Did I say you? Tevis was the last person in this room.
I still joined 2 minutes early. Who was eating cereal?
Tanner, you could have hit start the stream and not been late.
We were eating cereal instead at 10
I was not.
at night.
It looked like you were eating cereal. Which I don't have a problem with. Cereal at night is great. I was going to ask you what type of cereal.
I don't know how you get around to always talking about dairy products.
Why are you asking what type of cereal? You should be asking what type of milk, Steve.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not whole milk, it's just wrong. So.
Oh, man, that's too funny. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fintech Frenzy Friday show. Almost lost it there. Today we have a lot to cover. Some PayPal stuff, SoFi, Robinhood, many other companies in the middle, but that alone is going to take up much of our time. We know that Roy has a lot to say in regards to these companies. Steve, the articles that you have been putting out, you have a lot to say about Robinhood in particular, SoFi in particular. But thank you, Paul, for the generous donation as we head into the show. What did you guys think immediately about the price action of two different companies in the exact or in similar fields? Robinhood this week being up nearly 22.2%, and SoFi going down, not quite the same amount, but drawing down from 28 plus to 25 here. Roy?
Halfway deserved for each of them. Robinhood went up further and faster than it should have, but market tends to react. SoFi needed some consolidation. It's healthy. Now, I think the reason why it pulled down was more than just consolidation. We'll talk about some of the stuff that's circulating out there, but I mean, like, the reason why it fell, if that was the reason, it's absolutely stupid and ridiculous. It's very attractive here at 25-ish. If it keeps falling to 20, I will probably add about 25% to my position. So, yeah, if it wasn't my second largest, I'd add here. So, but consolidation is a really healthy thing for stocks. So, yeah.
You're going to add 25% to SoFi?
Robinhood. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, SoFi. If it falls to 20 or below, I'll add 25%.
Got you. Tevis, what have you been thinking about all of this fintech movement, and how are you taking advantage?
I don't really think too much about it, and I'm not really buying anything as a result of it. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the market, dude. I think the BTIG note was outrageous. I think the Derek White news played a part. But other than that, it's a pullback after this thing's run from 10 to 30. So I don't really look too deep into it.
You think Derek White played a part in the stock sell-off?
I mean, maybe, but
does anyone even know yet?
Derek White shorted SoFi, so no, I'm just kidding.
Well, like, there's been no press release. I'm sure it's not even that well known yet.
No.
Yeah, it's probably not. Well, I mean, he posted on his own LinkedIn saying that he was moving away. I mean, yeah, sure. There's not any press release. I know, for example, a company like Hims, it fell 9% today. And yesterday, their CEO came out and said, hey, their COO, who had been with the company for 5 months, is now no longer in that seat. So, like, yeah, these things, I think, matter. Not necessarily like they're going to, like, obviously the BTIG news, algorithms are going to sell off on that way faster than something like a Derek White news. But I think the Derek White news or any leadership changes that are unexpected, I think shake up some investor confidence because they lead to questions that have inherent uncertainty.
And Steve?
Before Steve jumps in, I actually mostly agree with you, except on Derek White. I would guess that maybe 5% of SoFi investors that are retail have heard of Derek White.
Yeah, it's possible. It helps that Galileo has been like underperforming of all their segments. So, like, you know, if it was, I I don't know. Like obviously Noto would be a huge impact, but even Lapointe maybe.
But for real, if the BTIG news, which to people who don't know, BTIG essentially came out and said, hey, defaults are rising at Upstart. Wasn't even a report on SoFi, but they play in similar fields, both in personal loans, and said defaults are essentially doubling over the past 2 months from 5.4% to 11.2%. Then about 3 days later, they corrected themselves and said, oh, wait, sorry, our algorithms were a little off. We got the math wrong. It went from 5.4% to 6.2%, not 11.4 or whatever it was. So they were terribly off. And the stock did correct a little bit during that news, whenever we got that correction, but it wasn't nearly enough, in my opinion, for how much it sold off based on that news. So not only did Upstart sell off, then recover on that, but Pagaya was down, Lending Club was down, SoFi was down. Many of the personal loan lenders, even Affirm and all of these companies got hit because they end up selling their loans, consumer loans, to the market. So why didn't it recover if that news ended up coming out and it was essentially completely false?
The efficient market hypothesis is wrong.
Yeah.
Long term, it won't matter at all. Over the short term, even when fake news is corrected, it doesn't always recover fully. I saw this case in point in a different sector. This is with PayPal and Adyen, and Stripe wasn't publicly traded, but Block and any other payments company. When Global Payment Network, or actually it was Worldline, I believe, went through some issues in Europe, and they just did terrible. And everybody just inferred from that it wasn't actually fake news, but they're like, oh, all the payments companies are going to do terrible. Instead, it was just a bad company doing terribly. So once that was understood, like 4 days later, there's a bit of a bounce back, but it wasn't a full recovery at all on any of the names that I was following, except for maybe like one or two. But it just, the market is not efficient.
Steve, what did you think about what's been happening, especially with Robinhood this past week?
So we'll start with SoFi because that's like 2 sentences for me.
Okay.
I am not happy about Derek White leaving. I would like some type of press release, even though it'll probably be fluff. I'd like to understand what's going to happen at Galileo and what it means for the banking platform. And to me, it's not good, for me at least, because I'm much more interested in the technology platform at this point. I don't think it matters for financial services or for the loan book at all. But when it comes to integrating everything and building out products on the tech core, I am interested to see what they're planning. It may be a nothing burger, but I think I know that Noto knows that we follow this company very closely, and there's a lot of people that follow this company closely and knows who Derek White is. So I think that they should have put something out, knowing that SoFi's got a community that pays attention. So would have liked to have seen something.
Yeah. And there'll probably definitely or most likely have some comments to say about that on earnings call for sure.
I would think so, but earnings call isn't for another 3 or 4 weeks. I think that because of the position he held, and since he's given fireside chats and we've all listened to them, I think that they should put something out. That's just my own opinion.
Yep. Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not too worried about what happened. Nothing changes where I think they are in Q3 earnings. So just got to get through the next couple of weeks.
Robinhood.
You want to go down the Robinhood hole?
Of course.
Do we want to do that, or do we want to touch the SoFi stuff first, or
Finish out the SoFi stuff, and then we can go to Robinhood.
Okay.
I don't want to flip back and forth because once I start going down Robinhood, there's no coming back.
Knowing Steve, I was like, yeah. By the way, Steve, if folks don't know, before we talk more about SoFi, you have a little bit of an announcement, I believe.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
Do say it.
okay. I started a YouTube channel. Yay!
Oh, okay. I was wondering where. I was like, what announcement? But yeah, you've got a live stream tomorrow.
Have a live stream tomorrow at 9:30.
It's pretty exciting. I think you have an
Milk and cookies for
extremely
everybody.
you have an extremely fast growing channel for someone who hasn't posted anything. You know how long it took me to get one or to get to 1,000 followers, let alone 3,500? I had to post a lot of videos.
How many followers do I have?
3,580.
Look at that.
Yeah, honestly, at some point, I was just going to laugh if you didn't have any live streams or videos for a while and you just passed me on subscribers. I'd be like, okay.
So I actually said to Admit on the phone that we should just push off the live stream and just wait till it gets to 10,000 before we do it. See how long it takes.
So you're doing it with Amit?
So I'm going to do it by myself in the beginning. I'm going to bring Amit on, and then I'm planning on bringing Chris on. It's going to be a Saturday night nerd fest. And then I got a lot of stuff planned. I'm going to be interviewing a lot of people outside of the stock world. Got some people lined up from the Pokemon community, alternative asset community. Probably going to do some live breaks. Going to do a lot of stock stuff, a lot of strategy stuff, option stuff, deep dives. It's going to be a lot of stuff. We're going to bring on some people for some movie reviews. Going to do tier lists for cookies. So there's going to be a lot of stuff.
Milk reviews.
No, it's whole milk or bust. I mean, there's no milk reviews.
All right. So
Thank you for the plug.
I didn't want. Let's just skip over that. I thought that was relevant. You guys, I know you've been following all four of us for a while. So yeah, follow Steve for sure. So Tevis. Sorry, I'm not trying to take over moderator thing to interrupt. Trying to get us back on.
No, I'm happy with
Eric White. You had some thoughts. I had some thoughts. We did not share deliberately during bootleg yesterday. So I'm curious, what are you thinking?
I honestly, I know people were like, oh, well, he probably left and he's going to start his own thing. And I'm like, guys, just if you were to leave a company of your own volition and you had a massive payout coming to you, if you just wait an extra month or an extra 6 weeks, you're going to wait an extra 6 weeks. It's not something that's so pressing because you're going to do offboarding and you're going to train your replacement and you're going to leave on sort of good terms. And so I think that this is peculiar. And I think it's probably as a result of some internal conflict, or he was pushed out in some way. Maybe Galileo performance, maybe something else. But if SoFi, when SoFi solidifies a $25 tranche for their PSUs, Derek White would have gotten over $6 million. And okay, great. I know he owns about 1.1 million shares of SoFi, so he doesn't really need an extra $6 million. But I'm sure, for an extra month, he had been with Galileo for 5 years, and he could have been there for an extra 6 weeks, and he could have got an extra $6 million. So why would somebody leave just like that? And I saw from Scott, who's marketing at Galileo, he retweeted one of my posts saying that it's the rumors confirmed, and that they internally at Galileo had known for about a month, whereby Derek White was offboarding to Bill, the interim CEO, the CFO, who is now the interim CEO. So the point is this is not something that happened today. This is something that there was some deliberate thought that was put into this and what that succession was going to look like and whatnot. And if he was hands-on, or if that's just lip service so that they don't look bad of he handed everything off. I just think that if it was a decision that he made, he would have planned it better. And we know this because what was it? Was it the president, Chad Borton, the president of SoFi Bank, and I believe Aaron Webster too, they left right around the time when some bonuses or some new stock was issued. And literally the next week is when they left. Tanner, do you remember this? Like the
I don't
timing
remember the
was
timing, but
critical. Yeah, it was like in the spring at some point when like new stocks were issued as part of their compensation, and that's when they unlocked it. And like 1 week later, they were gone. And that's the way to do it if you're gonna leave from like of your own volition. But if you're gonna get fired, you can't really plan around when you get fired.
yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, obviously, Derek White, I think he was very good, but it's hard to see the internals and know if he was executing or what have you. Obviously, Galileo has not been the most exciting play, but neither has the rest of the entire industry. Just as a sector, all of their competitors were facing massive complications. You know, like Marqeta wasn't doing that great, and Cino, all these ones. So, um, I don't know if Derek White underperformed or anything to sort of drive this type of firing, if that's the case. But who is going to replace him? That's going to be very interesting.
Bill Kennedy.
Bill Kennedy for now. He's interim, but
Yeah.
you know,
We'll have to see. Maybe Miguel Santos, maybe somebody different. I don't know. They may decide, you know, once it's integrated that they don't even need a CEO of Galileo at that point. But yeah, it was interesting. Like this LinkedIn post, if you could throw it up. Derek White posted this too, and this part right here. I mean, like it doesn't sound to me like he was forced out. I could be wrong, but you know, I'll share more on what's next. But I'll be going quiet for a bit as we build something at the intersection of humans, interaction, and technology. Stay tuned. Now that's very ambiguous, and for a bit, it could just be like, hey, saving face. That he's let go. I think no matter what the scenario is, he probably gets at least that 25 tranche for SoFi, as long as everybody else is getting it. It's hard for me to not see that unless he's fired at cause, but it doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't sound like that. You know, you could always just post nothing or just share about your opportunity without the things. I'm curious too, Tanner. Like Derek White, like from the interviews, podcasts, things that he posts and does. Sounds credible and pretty incredible, but like I've known people that, you know, the public facing part of it looks amazing, good, competent, and then you actually see and get to know what they're doing, and it's not very good at all. So I don't know that that's the case with Derek White. I don't know if he was one of the issues as far as why the cadence was like really slowed to a halt, or if he's just maybe not the right guy to take them to whatever that next stage is. I know a lot of it's crypto and lending stuff that may not be in his wheelhouse. Or if it was just, hey, you know, it's been 4 years ever since this acquisition. The plan was always to move on. I don't know. There's a lot unknown. We will get an SEC filing, or we should get an SEC filing like Monday or Tuesday fairly soon. But I expect it'll just be boilerplate language. So I don't think that that'll show us or tell us anything. But yeah, it's really interesting. So if we see... I mean, like, if you were going to tell me like that there was a guy in the C-suite that was going to be no longer with SoFi, I'd be like, okay, it's a CTO, and there's several internal candidates, including Derek White, that I thought would, you know, be able to fill in there. But you know, maybe I'm completely wrong. So obviously I was here, so not the first time.
do you guys have anything else to add on this Derek White thing? I don't really have any. Like, it's nothing to me. I really don't care that much.
I like the only thing is like it kind of relates to level one options too. Is that the level one options is very important, not so much for the revenue. It's not bad for that, but showing that they can actually improve cadence as far as launching products that people actually want. And of course, Nodo put out a roadmap of just some estimated dates. Now, it doesn't bother me if it's a quarter off or so. You know, that's fine. But if it's this is something that we're going to do, and then they don't launch it for 3 years. That's an issue, and it shows me that Derek White wasn't the issue.
Can we go on to Steven's thing on Hood? I really want to hear this.
Well, hold on, just one last thing. I mean, look, I think Galileo was, I mean, objectively the lowest performing business segment, and the buck has to stop with Derek White. So I think there is a case to be made around there being some type of internal friction there. Now, I think Tanner raised an interesting point as to who could potentially replace him. I honestly feel like it would be somebody in the crypto space.
I hope so.
And even like, I don't know, man. I kind of like if I think internally, like who could step into that role, like even Flory, I think could do a good job there. Obviously, Flory's on the SoFi side of things, but I think it's going to be somebody in the crypto space, some technologist, somebody that's relatively high profile. I mean, Roy and I talked about on the last bootleg, where people from Coinbase were going to, who was a person from Coinbase that went to Nubank?
Michael something.
Yeah, so I think it could be a case there too, where like Galileo has a big mandate, and I think crypto is going to play more and more of a role in that infrastructure going forward, and I think that's becoming very clear with Ethereum doing what it's doing and integrated payments and all this stuff. I mean, did you guys see the Vlad thing on Vlad thing on tokenization is like every other day, but the latest Vlad thing on tokenization where he was like, hey, it's just going to eat finance. And
do you want to listen to that right now?
We can right after, but I think that's really interesting, right? Because if you think about Galileo, well, Galileo's function is in part is to do the back end components there, and I think you need somebody with crypto exposure because that's where the tide is going.
Okay, for real. If we talk any more about this, I'm going to pass out. So I need to have some sort of argument with Tevis here about AI. There's a couple check marks that I need to get through. So, Steve, kick us off with a little spice, okay? Add a little spice. Right now, we're just working with salt and pepper. I need some chilies in here, okay?
Why don't you go to Tim Hortons and go get a coffee? Wake up.
You hate Robinhood, and why is that?
I don't hate Robinhood. You didn't even read the article. I shouldn't even talk about it because for you to say that I hate Robinhood tells me you didn't read the article.
The chilies have been added. Let's go. So,
did you read it?
No, to be fair, I have not.
There you go.
I don't have time for that. I know Robinhood. I don't need to read an article on Robinhood.
Well, then you wouldn't know that I gave Robinhood a ton of credit.
Okay, yeah, of course. I mean, because they've been executing.
A ton of credit. This company is executing. They're delivering on several critical success factors. They are positioned for a lot of growth. The problem I have comes back to the problem I always have when stuff gets like this. And it comes back to valuation, profitability. And when I look at, and you're going to hate the numbers, keep in mind this is a couple of days ago. So market caps have changed. Is that better for you guys to say?
It's still very small, but
hold on.
That's definitely better. Why? Okay, yeah. There's.
Well, I want to make it so you guys can see.
Yeah. So, we can see it.
All right. At the time when I wrote the article, I think it was like 5 days ago. Robinhood was trading, and I really care about interactive brokers against Hood because they're more similar than what Schwab does. Schwab isn't really in the options game or anything like that compared to these two. But the metrics are just crazy right now. Robinhood's gone up so much. Their price to operating income is over 70x compared to Interactive Broker, which is under 30x. The net interest margin, and yes, I know there's a typo there.
Hood's 24 billion more than that today.
But right. Yeah. So it makes it even crazier if I was to update it. So let's stick with these numbers and make it look a little bit better for Robinhood. But the net interest margin for Robinhood was under 35%, so over 55% for Interactive Brokers. The operating margin is significantly different. Interactive Brokers is significantly more profitable, and you're buying it for less than 1 times assets and 6 times equity when Robinhood's trading at 3 times assets and 13 times equity. I'm not saying Robinhood isn't a great company. It's amazing, but the market cap has gone wild for the profitability that they produce. And when I looked at what the analysts are projecting, and You said that you think this is incorrect. Not my numbers. Okay, I can pull it up on Seeking Alpha. They're projecting that Robinhood has less than 30% EPS growth over the next 2 years. Whether that's correct, incorrect, not my numbers. And when I look at that, I mean, who knows if I don't know how Schwab is going to get to 38% without buying back a ridiculous amount of stock. Maybe that's how they're figuring that. But sure, they have more forward EPS growth than Interactive Brokers, but Interactive Brokers is so much more profitable right now, and the margins are so much better. It just makes me think that Robinhood ran a little bit too far, too fast. And what I said in the article is, I do not doubt that Robinhood is going to be higher in the future, but I think that they are going to retrace and cool off before that next leg of growth happens. It just so happened that next leg of growth happened the day that this article was published. And I was a little bit incorrect with timing, but I still think Robinhood's going to cool off a little bit.
No, you were hilarious on the timing, which
It was amazing timing.
it was up like 13 or 14%. People were laughing at you in the comments. I'm like,
Right.
I mean, he's got some points, but I also think.
And I'm not saying it's not going higher. Like, ultimately, I think it goes higher. I just think it's one of those things that needs to grow into the valuation. I didn't expect it to do what it did last week. And we'll see. I mean, look, Vlad has been the operator of operators. He is delivering. His team's delivering. You can't take anything away from them. And if they keep going at this velocity and keep expanding into other countries, who knows what happens?
Yeah, I'm just I've been talking a lot about the run up in the market cap. Essentially, this is a way to think about it. Charles Schwab has $11.2 trillion of assets under management. Robinhood has 300 billion.
Okay, but what did Charles Schwab have like last year versus Robinhood last year?
Dude, you'd be surprised how much Charles Schwab is growing. I mean, like, I think they doubled.
A lot. I can tell you. I'll
They
bring it up.
doubled year over year assets under management.
Sorry, no, over the last 3 years they've doubled. But like
Keep in
they
mind,
grew.
it's also because the market's going up in fairness.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the S&P 500.
So it's not it's not net new capital. So it's
Right.
not,
So that I think that's what I'm asking is like, forget assets under management, catch it from like a user perspective, right? Because assets under management can skew.
Let's take a look from a revenue perspective. Yes, you know, Robinhood is growing, but from a total dollar perspective, like the amounts that Schwab is changing as well, also doing very well. Like, it's not like they're a dying business,
no.
and yet the valuations on these two companies are completely different. So we can look at it from a assets under custody, revenue, net income, whatever you want. But essentially, the way that might be interesting to look at it is that if you take SoFi and add it to Robinhood, you're paying the same price as the full value of Schwab. Those are very two different sized businesses.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's to my own fault because I'm just wired from looking at things a little bit differently than growth at all costs. And when I see a company that is growing and doing 7.3 billion in net income versus another company that's growing that's doing a fraction of that and a low fraction of that, it makes it hard to justify paying what you're paying for the smaller company. So look,
They're still going to.
wrong.
I think there's more growth to go, but
Not
if
saying
there
isn't.
is a bear market, it's not going to be where you're going to want to be. Because then
If
you're
we,
going to have.
so here, let me go off on like a 45-second tangent real quick.
Yeah.
I am a little bit worried, and you guys know I don't like to get political. Okay. I really would like a deal to be made for the government to be funded and let cooler heads prevail. What is going on right now could turn out to be a long government closure. The last one in 2018 under Trump was 30-something days. The combination of unemployment already going up 0.9% over the past year, And if you get mass layoffs in the government, it could trigger a recession in Q2 2026 if this gets extended. And if
Sorry.
that happens,
Aren't and this is just my own misunderstanding. Aren't essential services still running? Like, why do we care about? Like, they can't pass any new laws. Like, who cares?
because you could have hundreds of thousands of jobs gone.
Yeah, but aren't essential services still going regardless of the shutdown?
Right, essential services, but you still gonna have furloughs, and you may have them gut other things. Could lead to significant job loss if this continues to go. So you want the government funded because then that's off the table. And we want more jobs in America. And we could get into a whole debate about government, non-government, but the point is, with where unemployment is, it scares me that we may add to that number because every time you get to a 1% or higher, we're either in a recession or recession just starts. And if a recession starts, there are growth names that you could consider frothy that could get hit. And if we get a correction of 10 or 15%, which ultimately would be happy, we're making new highs, getting some type of a pullback is inevitable. But I don't want necessarily a violent one because there are several companies that could get whacked. And I'm not saying they won't come back, but Robinhood could be a candidate with how much it's run.
Yeah, I don't have any comments on the shutdown at all. It honestly doesn't seem to affect markets that much, at least in the short term.
It doesn't. I mean, we've had 18 or 20 since 1980, and ultimately the markets go up. I mean, it's not something for long-term investors to necessarily worry about. It's more we're at a critical point when you think about AI and robotics and where unemployment is, that we just don't need to add fuel to the fire.
Steve, back in 2018, I think you said it was 2018, the last long government shutdown that was 30 days.
Close to 30 days or so.
Was there any spike in the jobs losses in the government in that time period so that we can use it as somewhat of an indicator for what to expect this time around? Because I know
we'd have to pull it. I don't know off the top of my head. We'd have to pull the data. Or ask Grok. See what Grok comes up with. I'm pretty sure Grok will be able to get it quicker than I can.
Also, Steve, while we have you, because, you know, you're a phenomenal investor. We don't get to have you here all the time.
Oh, God.
So while you're here and I'm asking you about SoFi and Robinhood, that's all great. And I love your contribution to the channel on those names.
Mm-hmm.
But are you open to say what you ended up purchasing today?
Yeah, why?
Did you buy something today? You bought a little stock?
Yeah, I bought two things.
What did you buy, Steve? Tell Tevis.
Was it Joby?
No, it wasn't Joby. It wasn't even anything that rhymed with Joby.
Like the long list of companies that rhyme with Joby.
Are you part of the cult? No, he is part of the cult already.
Oh, you bought BMR? I mean, you already own that.
I'm the leader of BMR. All right. My article on BMNR came out before any of you guys were on it. All right. So, yes.
Views would say I might be leading now, but
well, I'm not. Listen, you may have more of it than me, but I was the original on this.
You are. You got me on it.
So I bought more of that today, and I bought more NVIDIA.
NVIDIA.
Yes.
NVIDIA.
You know, they're a small little company, but I think they have potential.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just off of the highs, and I don't have a crystal ball. You know, I want the same crystal ball everybody else wants. I left money. So what happened was, I'm a little bit worried about commercial real estate in New York because I don't know what's going to happen with the mayor race, and I really don't know what's fluff and what's not. So I took a lot of chips off the table with commercial real estate, just in case it fluctuates. So I bought back my covered calls on SL Green, exited a large portion of that position, and used that capital to buy more BMNR and NVIDIA. And I left cash in the account in case NVIDIA continues to retrace. And I'll buy more around, I'd say 176 or so.
When is the election in New York, Steve?
November 4th.
Who are you voting for?
Uh,
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No comment.
So did you get out of SLG just because of the potential ramifications of the election?
I was going to get out of SLG anyway in November because that's when my cover calls expired. And it was right around the price. I mean, I had done pretty well on it, but when it ran, I got a little stuck. And then when it came down, I reverse rolled from January to November. And I got 2 months back. And look, it's not just with the mayor race. I mean, every mayor is going to have different things that they think. So it's not just that. It was more the community board shot down the casino in Times Square that SL Green was going to build with Caesars and Rock Nation. So with that off the table, that was a growth vector that I was really looking forward to. So that was also part of the reason why I wanted to get out. And I've been in a while, and there's more potential other places. But I think NVIDIA's got a lot of potential for next year. And maybe it keeps retracing. I had an odd number of shares, so I wanted to round it out. And I plan on buying more.
That's what he called me. He goes, yeah, I bought more NVIDIA today. I didn't have an even amount of shares. And I was like, are you full porting covered calls? Like,
well, so I honestly, when I have a share count that's uneven and I have it on a couple of names, I really want to just have it a flat 100 increments. Even when I'm not selling covered calls, like Nubank, it's just not worth doing covered calls, but I was still like 100 increments is perfect.
I did write more cover calls today, though.
Yeah. That's why you bought 100 shares of Mercado Libre, right?
I do not own Mercado Libre. I sold 195s on NVIDIA for next week and 66s or 67s on BMNR. I mean, I couldn't even believe the premiums were that big on that far out. It's wild.
BMNR, yeah. No, the cool thing about BMNR is usually volatility and liquidity and massive runs in share prices above the fundamentals don't really do anything for the actual business unless they choose to dilute or something. Maybe it's okay as far as like attracting people with SPC or whatever, but usually it's just for us shareholders. But BMNR, like that's their business model. And so having the volatility there, having the liquidity, oh man, it's great for the business, great for us. And like willing, it's like, oh man, it's the best. Yeah.
And look, I'm pulling for Vlad. How come when I write a comment, it shows up 3 times?
Because it's writing to all of our channels.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I never knew that. So
It's about
with
to show up
BMNR,
4
I'm
times soon,
rooting
Steve.
for what?
It's about to show up 4 times soon.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show me how to stream it next week. But Vlad, I want tokenization. Look, I'm rooting for Robinhood. Me thinking that the valuation needed to cool off a little bit has nothing to do with forward growth. And Robinhood expanding into these vectors is super bullish for BMNR. And if Vlad's vision comes true, it is super bullish for Ethereum and BMNR.
I am head over heels on Ethereum right now.
Like I don't understand how you can say that, Steve. Like, okay, I don't understand how you can be as bullish as you are on BMNR and on the Ethereum ecosystem, and then kind of lukewarm on Robinhood, knowing that tokenization is literally going to leverage Ethereum.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I don't know what their profitability model is going to be around and how they're going to scale it. And I just think the valuation right now is rich. They could have another $1 billion under net income, and I would still think it's a little rich right now. So one thing has nothing to do with the other. When I think about,
I don't think they do have. If you're bullish on like oil and gas, do you have to be bullish on like Honda? Like it's a one specific vehicle of oil. You know what I mean?
You don't. I mean, one thing has nothing to do with the other at the moment.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think like there's basically 3 cryptos that trade a lot on Robinhood, and it's Ethereum, it's Bitcoin, and it's Dogecoin, not Solana.
Solana, but the majority of crypto trading doesn't happen on Robinhood.
I
know, but there's a lot that does.
Regardless of the trading, the big thing with tokenization is when I did the research, it looks like more than half of it will occur on the Ethereum blockchain. And if Robinhood is the leader in tokenization and they can get more assets tokenized and more transaction volume through tokenization, that's super bullish for Ethereum.
If you throw this up, Tanner,
Sorry.
we crossed a hallmark here. 300 billion, over 300 billion now. Total stablecoins market cap. This has just been on a tear. It's a year of stablecoin, and on Ethereum we have 159 billion. So more than half. Still, it's spiking up rapidly.
Yeah. That's only going to continue to grow, and that's only one growth vector. You know,
Let me ask you guys a question. Would you still be buying BMNR here, and would you still be buying NVIDIA here?
well, I'm actively buying BMNR, and I'm not buying NVIDIA right now. I'm holding NVIDIA. I haven't sold a share, but
I've bought some NVIDIA. I bought a lot of BMNR, and I continue to buy BMNR every week.
Yeah, it's, same with on the BMNR purchases.
Like, I'm starting to think that I'm not bullish, and I hate getting like this because then I start looking for things to take money away from, and it's like I don't think I'm bullish enough on BMNR under 60. And I hate saying that because it sounds so ridiculous, but I don't see the train stopping anytime soon. Like, we are in the first inning. Like, we had years of just stagnant, years of it. I think that this is the first inning. We have not even begun to scratch the surface on what this could become. And if it becomes what it could become, I mean, Ethereum is going to go sky high.
if it's the chain that ends up winning.
Right. And right now it looks like it is. It's hard for it not to be the chain that wins or one of the chains that wins, because if MasterCard's building theirs on Ethereum layer 2, PayPal and Shopify,
Swift.
hard to believe that that's not going to be the one that wins.
Yeah, it's mainly the Stripe stuff and the SoFi comments that are holding me back and making me think maybe some companies are just going to, you know, either build their own networks or, you know, potentially go to Solana or some of these other things for some of their projects. Obviously, that's not winning a lot of deals, but I'm still surprised that you are seeing the amount of volume. Like the new products that Stripe has put out in the last week is insane. Not only tempo, but open issuance. I'm sure Roy saw that. Or if you haven't, Roy, I can.
No.
Stripe announced a thing called open issuance from Bridge that allows any company to create their own stablecoins. And they already have massive customers, like 30 plus customers. And yeah, it's not all on Ethereum. In fact, probably most of them are not. The Telegram one, that was not on Ethereum. That was on, what was it, Open Network or something? They have 1 billion monthly active users. You know, they didn't choose Ethereum. I still think it's bullish because I think just getting people on chain and then let the interoperability happen over there still affects Ethereum. But there was Mike Novo on Amit's channel made a good point. Bitcoin has already won. We're going to see if Ethereum wins. You know, Bitcoin has 0 competitors. I think that's quite interesting.
I mean, I don't think Ethereum really does either. If you're looking at it from an institutional standpoint, the only one that would, like, I know you mentioned SoFi and Stripe. SoFi I just throw out as far as crypto. I wouldn't take that seriously at all. Stripe, you know, they're credible. So I mean, I think that not Solana even. I think that's the only other option for something that's actually, you know, building a whole network on chain. It's certainly not going to be Bitcoin, despite certain comments. So there's so much going for it. Like, just to recount, it doesn't go down. It's decentralized. It's the developer community is all over it. It's a very well-known protocol, and you can basically do or build whatever you want. You can build layer 2s right on top of it. So even if you're like, well, the Ethereum chain doesn't have this or that, you build it. Done. It's just like, there's mass is an important part of the equation too. Mass, both in terms of developers and those that are familiar with building on Ethereum, and also mass as far as like building this massive ecosystem. You don't want to be a business that's like, oh, we're going to do this weird chain that nobody has heard of, I mean, you might, but for the most part, people will be like, no, we're going to go with what everybody else is building on, everybody else is doing. We can actually hire people that know this. Like that's one of the problems with Cardano is like they coded in Haskell, which is like it's I don't know code, but it sounds like a good programming language, but nobody knows it. So you had already massive roadblocks preventing developers from actually going on that chain, which hindered projects, which hindered all sorts of different things. And then you look at the price action, it speaks for itself. I think there's some interesting things about Cardano, but I mean, ultimately, like mass wins.
Yeah, I don't really know if Cardano and these ones are still in favor. I'm not sure.
They have no volume compared to the institutional volume that's coming into Ethereum, right? So like that's the indicator right there, is just look at the sheer amount of volume that's being bought up on Ethereum. And now you have like all of these ETFs that are now starting on Ethereum as well. So like, sure, it's still a race, but Ethereum, I think, is far ahead from an adoption perspective in that race.
And let's not forget, you have Main Street truly backing Ethereum right now with Tom Lay.
Yeah.
And that is, and I know people don't want to say it, but that is a big factor at the moment.
I don't think he's as big of a factor as people give him credit for, but yeah,
We'll
like
see.
Ethereum's a multi-$100 billion coin, which is crazy. You know what's crazy? Tether just recently is going to raise money, and at the time that they did that was at a higher market cap than Ethereum. Tether at 500 billion was more than Ethereum, or that was a higher market cap than all of Ethereum. Does that not blow you guys away?
Yeah,
Well,
I don't understand that, but
Well,
inefficient.
they are multi-chain, right? But
Yeah, I mean, like they're massive. I like Circle a lot better, and if I was going to pick one to invest in, it'd be Circle. A lot more credible company. Tether isn't terrible now these days. It was pretty sketchy a few years ago. So hopefully, if they do go public at some point, they'll resolve some of the final concerns that people have with Tether. It would be a disaster actually if they went under. I think we're past that now. So
yeah, I think we're past that as well. USAT. Tevis. I don't know if you know this news. I'm sure you've gotten around to it, but I want your opinion of it because I haven't heard your opinion yet. Nubank is applying for a national bank charter in the United States.
Yeah.
How does that affect your plays in US fintech or other investments like this?
It doesn't. Like, okay, I think it's going to be really interesting to see Nubank in the US, because in Latin America, I think it's sort of playing in the G leagues from a competition perspective. And in the US, they're not only going to have the best technologies in the world competing, the best companies in the world competing, but they're also going to be competing for like this completely different space where the wallet sizes are completely different, right? And so back in Latin America, it's very cheap. Like they can have millions and millions and millions of customers, and it doesn't mean really that much because the average revenue that they have per customer is like single digit dollars. That is very different in the US. And so it's kind of like a different, like it's the same sport, but I think you're in a different league altogether. And Nubank, I think, has shown impeccable execution so far. But again, it's like if I put LeBron James in the G League, he's going to dominate everybody. But I can only really see the true skill if I put him against other people that are equally as skilled. And I think the US offers that kind of competition.
Do you think that the skills that Nubank has in terms of cost to serve and like the tech platform in general, having to learn in an industry that is, one, ripe with fraud, and two, has extremely low customer dollar amounts, so they have to lower their cost to serve way lower than the United States. Bringing those to America could give them quite a technological advantage. Do you give this any sort of like real belief, Roy, that Nubank could be quite the competitor?
I mean, I think you and I already knew that. This, I'm curious how quickly they do the rollout. It'll take time, to get approval. I think that they may go fairly slow and basically work with those that already have existing ties in Nubank, not do a whole lot of advertising, marketing at first, focus more on Colombia and especially Mexico. But I mean, this is a company that's savvy enough, has done the launches enough. Although it is a very different environment, like Tev has said, they'll do well. I don't see it really as a credible threat to SoFi. I know people have thrown that out there, but it's really more of a yet another competitor like SoFi that is a neobank that actually can make tremendous inroads against the banks out there like Wells Fargo, which hopefully I'll officially sever all ties here like this month and be done with them.
Yeah, that's how we should have started it, by the way. I haven't even brought that up yet. Congrats.
Yeah. Thanks. It'll feel really good. I got there's a once a year payment that was going through Wells Fargo, and I had to figure out how to switch that. Pain in just to get it done, but it's done. I think I have 2 other accounts that I need to switch over, and then I'm good. So, yeah. Glad to say goodbye to them. Love SoFi. I need to have a second bank, just not because I have so much money. I just like to have a backup one just in case. But that'll probably be Robinhood. But SoFi, they've not done me any wrong. They're great.
Give me your prediction. When do you think they actually enter the United States? Officially, first customer lands?
I mean, it just depends on approval. What banking license have they applied for? I didn't see
National
that.
bank, same as SoFi,
National.
highest of the high.
My understanding, and correct me if wrong, is that takes a bit longer to be approved. And of course, the government shutdown probably doesn't help, especially if that continues on. I would say probably not next year, but 2027.
I think that's a fair estimate. I think it's going to be a while, 18, 24 months just to get the approvals. But the great thing about Nubank is that they've designed that tech to go global. Similar thing with Robinhood, right? That they don't... it is rip and replace, so they can just slap it on any country, essentially.
Look, I think at the end of the day, the way I see this from a macro perspective is that it's going to be more competition, and that's going to breed more innovation, right? I don't think you can be afraid of that competition, because it really just is a test for what you hold. And if you're truly confident in what you hold to be the best companies that are innovating, then you should be welcoming that competition. We've seen with SoFi, for example, right? Every time Robinhood rolls out, Robinhood rolled out their credit card, SoFi is pushed to roll out their credit card. Oh, Robinhood did something on their brokerage, or the market will compare these companies' products with one another. And I think if Nubank comes in and offers just another level of competition with what they're doing, whether it's operationally or from a product perspective, externally facing, then it's going to force all these other companies in this space to get their shit together.
And this is the average SoFi person, though, right? What's Peter? Is it Peter Thiel that says that competition is not what you're looking for?
Yeah, dude, but you're in banking. You're you're not building a space company. It's a bank.
But no one's forcing you to invest in a bank.
Banking's pretty competitive.
Yeah.
But no one's forcing you to buy this industry. So does more competition and more people that can make
it's a moot point. It's a moot point because we already own players in the space in the US, and the question you had was, what do you think of yet another player entering their space?
Yeah, but does that make what I'm suggesting is, do you think that should make
should make me
I'm playing
sell?
devil's advocate here, but
it wouldn't make me sell, because even when Nubank wasn't in the US, SoFi still had competition in the US. They weren't the only one. So why would I bought it in the first place?
Well, it's probably, I think people will underestimate how strong Nubank is. I mean, they have over 100 million fintech customers. You know, Brazil has a smaller population than America. So it's not like
what do you think of it then, Tanner? Like, is that like, okay, now that Nu and SoFi are playing in the same playground, are you going to concentrate more into one than the other?
Well, I definitely think this is it looks great for Nubank. I think that the perks that they have in Brazil will not be the perks that they bring to the States. They don't even offer cash back unless you're at the high net worth group for their credit cards, and yet people pick them up like crazy. They're obviously going to know that if they come to America, they can't get away with that level of service. They need to bring, 2% or 3% cash back in order to just gain that trust, that sort of risk reward. So does, Nubank come out with a 3% cash back and be the company that truly does compete one-to-one with Robinhood and start to deliver products at that Robinhood speed? It depends how they go about it. But one thing I'm never, ever going to do is bet against Nubank. David Velez is one of the greatest founders. And I think the way that I'm playing it is just buy and hold on to more Nubank. That's
Same.
because it's opening them up. Like you said, this is the real leagues. If they get a fraction of the amount of customers that they have in Mexico, Colombia, or Brazil, they're going to mean 10x, 100x what they've meant in those countries. So,
sure, but they can also get smoked out of the market. Like, you have some very established players entering new geographies, and they just find that the audience is not the same. It might not be worth their while. They can't scale, so on and so forth. And maybe Nubank can, but it's yet to be determined, right? Like, I remember Target came into Canada, and they were here for a couple years.
They left quick.
A couple hundred shops, and then they were like, okay, it's not worth it here. And Target is massive in the States. Yeah. And so you're like, well, what, so it's not a foregone conclusion that because they're successful in LATAM that they're going to be successful in the US. We have to see.
Yeah. I think that's right. I just
I think it.
Go ahead. All I was.
I think it's almost forgotten. They're a higher. I think they're a much stronger culture, especially at launching in new markets, understanding the difficulties and challenges in those markets. The United States is not the hardest market to break in. There's a lot of competition, but there's a lot of disruption that can happen, and we're seeing SoFi execute on this. I would argue that as far as cadence of actually being able to ship products, SoFi did great before COVID, but afterwards it just really has slowed down. Nubank is just full steam ahead. They launch what seems to be great products that are well received. They do stumble occasionally, but it's pretty rare. And they have an easy layup just because there are a lot of Latinos in the United States. There's some that have great banks and great services, and many that speak English fluently. But there's also a lot that come across the border or come to the country, both legally and illegally. That's something that no matter what policies are, some of that's going to continue in the future. And, Mexico is, a major hub for Latin America. You're passing through. A lot of people that come legally and illegally are coming through Mexico, not necessarily from Mexico. And of course, Nubank is there. How, it's a lot of people are coming over. They don't have a lot of money when they come over, but they'll recognize Nubank once it's here. They'll be like, oh man, I know that bank. That's my parents' bank. I can send money to them easily. They speak my language. They offer my services that I really need. They understand me as a consumer. They're going to dominate that market. So I think that's just a layup.
It's all sunshine and rainbows until Trump puts 100% tariff on companies that are not from the U.S. banking in the U.S.
Yeah, but they'll have a national banking charter. They will be an American company.
Oh, they're going to acquire a banking charter in the U.S. They're going to acquire one?
Yeah.
They're not looking to acquire one. They're looking to apply for it right now. But maybe they acquire something.
Good luck. If they're applying for it, good luck to get it. It's going to be
I will guarantee you they'll get it.
They will.
No, but like it'll take a long time as well.
Yeah, this will take 2 years before they even enter.
Yeah.
But like the thing that people discount from like Nubank is the level of tech that they have. Obviously, it's went from like, you know, rural banks to a big tech company. But that's the leapfrog effect, right? Like new countries don't have to go through the same steps that America has gone through in banking. They can immediately take the lessons that America has learned and just jump right to that lesson. So, for example, they came out with temporary credit cards temporary credit cards where you can end up like, oh, create me a new number so then I can sign up for this promotion, then I can cancel that card so then they can't charge me again. You know, these types of products. They had that before Robinhood had it. SoFi doesn't even have that yet. You know, that's just one example of just the constant tech innovations that like people in Brazil have that like SoFi doesn't even have yet. So I'm just interested to see how they are going to act together. I don't think it's going to be a lot of crossover. One thing needs to be made very clear. Nubank goes after a low-end consumer. They do very well giving people their first credit card. SoFi does not do well doing that. They just put out their first product that is like that, and we have 0 numbers on it. So we'll see. But guys, there's some things I want to talk about in the after hours. You want to transition this over to the after hours?
Yeah, sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. But check us out in the after hours. If you are a member of the channel, you can hit the join button down below if you're already subscribed on any of the 3 channels. Bye for now.